Hi, my name is Toots, and today I'm going to be talking about how to have a natural childbirth, no epidural, while using Pitocin. Now, I have some experience with Pitocin, and let's just say it was rough. And I really didn't want an epidural. So when I heard that I had to be induced at 39 weeks because my daughter was not growing as much as they would like, I was heartbroken. So I looked on YouTube and I didn't really see too many videos that help women who are being induced with Pitocin not have an epidural. It was like, once you hear Pitocin, you just know that you're going to have an epidural. But not for me. And I'm going to give you some tips on how I stay epidural free with the devil, Pitocin. Alright, so Pitocin, let's find out what it actually does. Pitocin is a synthetic form of oxytocin. We naturally make oxytocin during childbirth, and it helps uterine contractions and it helps speed up contractions. And also, Pitocin is used to stop hemorrhaging and bleeding postpartum after you have your child. And sometimes they give it to help deliver the placenta. Now, when I was induced at 39 weeks, my daughter, she was 5 pounds. She had stopped growing. She was growing. Everything was fine. The placenta was working perfectly fine. But for some reason, you know, doctors aren't God. They can't predict why these things happen. They didn't know why she wasn't growing. So at 39 weeks, they suggested that I be induced, and I had no other choice but to go with their suggestion. But I really didn't want to have an epidural, and I heard so many horror stories about how Pitocin makes, you know, contractions worse, and it was like a fail. Like, I had a doula, so thank God I was prepared during my pregnancy. I researched so much, and I also had the doula that helped me, and we went through different strategies on how to cope during my birth. Pitocin is given through an IV. So if you're having a labor, which you probably will be having a labor at the hospital if you're looking at this video because you're using Pitocin, they automatically give everybody an IV. So they gave mine in my arm. I still have a mark from it. My nurse was horrible. They give it through an IV, and you have the little card of Pitocin sitting right next to you, and the nurse comes in, she checks on you, looks at the screen, and she ups it every few hours. They just don't give you the full dose, boom, at one point. They up it, increase. Now, I probably would say the first contractions that you get when you first put your Pitocin, they're bearable. You can manage those contractions. And you're probably going to need these tips for the active labor after they break your waters. Because when they break your waters, it's about to go down. So my first tip to have an epidural-free Pitocin labor is to breathe. Breathing helps. Now, I will say this. Pitocin makes contractions come hard. Now, I had a few contractions before I had the Pitocin, but they were nothing like the ones when you're in active labor. There were no spaces in between my contractions. And I think that is the worst part, is anticipating the contraction, because you know it's coming. You know it's about to come. You know that this horrible piece of crap contraction is about to come. So that's the worst, one of the worst parts besides the pain, is knowing that contraction is about to come. And breathing definitely helped. It helps so much. Just me breathing through it, you know, different techniques, like the cliche one, and excuse me, I have a cold, but also this research breathing. Tip number 2 will be, get yourself a doula. Get a doula. Now, I was so informed during my childbirth. I was telling my doula stuff, and she would always ask me, why do you have me? Because I needed her. I needed that extra person that was not biased, that didn't have any judgment, you know, that wasn't my family. My family members were very supportive during my pregnancy, I will say that. But they had their own thought of how things should go, you know, especially your mom. If you have your mom in your life, she'll tell you how she did her birth. My mom was natural too with me. She didn't have Pitocin though, which is a big difference, okay? But she didn't have an epidural. So, you know, I wanted the home birth and everything, and everybody would say to me, oh, that's crazy. But my doula, she was so loving and so comforting and so judgment-free. She really helped me. She helped prepare me. She gave me a birthing ball that, you know, basically one of those balls that you sit on and you bounce. and she made everything go so much easier. She wasn't at my actual birth, but she helped me during the process. She helped ease my nerves. Number 3, for epidural-free Pitocin labor will to be have a midwife. If you can have a midwife, get a midwife. Midwives take care of your whole body and soul. Now, I had the experience to have a doctor and a midwife, and I always would see my midwife, but when my midwife wasn't there because she worked at other offices and I had an emergency, I would have to see the doctor. And my doctor, I'm not gonna say the explicit words that I want to say, but doctors get straight to the point. They don't care about the person. They just say, I was telling him how I feel, like, oh, this, that, and the third, and he would say, oh, you're just pregnant. That's just how pregnant women are. You're just pregnant. It's normal. You're pregnant. But my midwife, she would say, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? She would talk to me, not just get straight to the symptoms. She would talk to me. She would ask. I recommend midwives for every woman that's pregnant, especially if you're going to be induced. It might be too late because I found out at like 36 weeks was way into my pregnancy. You might be too late to go switch to a midwife, but hey, if you can do it, do it. Get a midwife, okay? So my next tip, what number are we on? I forgot. Tip number 4 for an epidural-free birth with Pitocin. My 4th tip would be to get yourself a birthing ball. Birthing balls, they're like these exercise, they're basically exercise balls, and they named the birthing balls so they can charge you more money for them. Basically, you do yoga or Pilates or something like that on them. It's just a basically exercise ball. I will show you if I didn't have it packed away. Mine was a big gray ball. I used that during the beginning stages of my labor. Tip 5 is prayer. Okay, now, if you're atheist, I have nothing against anybody's religion. If you're atheist, you don't believe in a God, please find somebody to believe in. If it's your dog, pray to your dog. If it's your Einstein or atheist, like scientists, pray to the scientists because you're going to need it. I'm not trying to scare people. I don't want to scare anybody. You can do this. I mean, women are doing this right now as you're watching this video in third world countries. Not in a hospital, okay? In a hut somewhere with 3 other women helping them push their baby out with no epidural, no Pitocin, no nothing. So if those women can do it and they don't have they don't even have a zilch of the resources that we have, you can do it. But that's just a disclaimer. I don't want to scare anybody, but I'm not going to lie and say to you that it's not going to hurt, because it is. It's going to hurt. But it's all worth it at the end. You get that beautiful bundle. So let's take us to tip number 6. Tip number 6 is to remember why you're doing this, because I'm not going to lie to you. When I was in active labor, that active labor phase, right before I had my little munchkin, I thought I was going to die. I literally thought I was going to die. And I kept looking at the monitor because I kept thinking to myself, my daughter's 5 pounds. They could tell on her ultrasound how much she weighs. I knew she was going to be 5 pounds. And she was 5 pounds. 5 pounds, 1 ounce. My daughter's 5 pounds. If I can't take all this Pitocin, how is she? So if I add an epidural in the mix, what is that going to do to my little munchkin? That's the only thing. To be honest, that is the only thing that kept me from getting an epidural, was thinking about my little boo-boo and how she would react to epidural, because they were so worried. When you're in labor, they worry about you and the baby. They don't want the baby's heart rate to go all out of control. They don't want to go too low, and they don't want to go too high. And they also don't want your blood pressure to go out of control. Epidurals, while they can be very helpful to many women, they can also be counterproductive in labor. They can slow down your labor. They can make your heart rate go down too much because it's slowing down. It's slowing down that pain. It's making your body reject the pain. So it can make your heart rate go down or up. It can have any effect on you. I don't know. It can have any effect on you. No one knows. Not even the doctor. They don't know how you're going to react to that stuff. So how do we know how our babies are going to react to it? An epidural on a 5-pound person, because what goes through me goes through her. Keep that in mind. Tip number 7 will be to, if you have a nurse that is rude, that's not listening to what you want done, kick her ass out of the delivery room. Now, when I first got there, my delivery took 24 hours. I had to have my cervix softened. I had to have my cervix dilated with the Foley catheter, and I had to have my water broken. The whole process took from 7:30 a.m. to 7:12 the next morning. 24-hour birth, which is pretty fast for somebody that's getting induced, because I didn't have the epidural. The first lady that I had, the first nurse that I had, she said she worked there for about 25 years, and it showed. She was a real number, okay? And I told, as soon as I got in there, she saw my birthing ball, and she said, "Oh, you're not going to be able to use that. You're not going to be able to use that." So I'm all, you better have a baby. Like, I'm like, oh, wide-eyed, and like, I don't know what's about to go down, what's about to happen, and she's already being negative, stomping and raining on my parade. And only time she would come in was when the monitors would go off, because they monitor the baby, and if you move, you have the thing strapped around your stomach, it moves. If the baby moves, the monitor moves, you can't pick up the heartbeat. That's the only time she would come check on me. And if I would move, try to do different positions like squatting and stuff, she would tell me, "You can't sit like that. You have to lay on your back." I said, I can't take that pain on you. You cannot take that. I cannot take that pain on my back. Okay, I remember that pain. It was this 4 months ago. That pain on your back, no. You cannot take it laying down. You cannot take it laying down. Okay, so she did not want me to move, because every time I moved meant that she would have to come in and check on me. So I told her ass to get out of my delivery room, and the next nurse I had on for the second part of my birth, that was there for the rest of it, and saw my child come out. She stayed an hour after her shift. Her name was Janice. Oh my goodness, she works at a natural childbirth facility, a birth center, and she was great. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have had the birth that I was. If I would have had that first nurse, I probably would have had an epidural. Which brings me to tip number 8. Tip number 8 for a natural childbirth while on the double Pitocin. Do not lay on your back. Do not take that pain laying down. You are a super mom. You cannot take that pain laying down. No. Get in a squatting position. Get on your side. Do something. Hold on to the bed. Do something. That's what I was doing the whole time. I laid on my side. I did so many positions. I walked around the room. That pain laying down, it's no good. You would end up getting an epidural. I'm telling you. I promise to you. You would get an epidural if you just take that pain laying down. Now, if you, like I said earlier in my earlier tip, if you have that nurse who's telling you can't do this, you can't do that, well, you tell that nurse, you can't be my nurse. That's why it's important to have somebody like a doula, like your boyfriend, your husband, fiance, your girlfriend, whatever, your mom, your aunt, whoever that's there, they need to be your voice box. Because you need to tell these people, I cannot lay down. Change positions. They have many positions that you can do. You can do squatting position, all fours, on your side, anything. Make up a new position. You'll probably make up your own in the middle of it. All that stuff goes out the window. Okay, do what's comfortable for you and not what's convenient for your nurse's staff. Tip number 9 is to take your birth plan, because you probably have one, and throw it away. Once you find out you're being induced, you have to, everything that you thought you wanted in the beginning is going to be altered and changed, which is fine. Our bodies are out of our control. There are vessels for our lives that are about to be brought into the world. Throw that birth plan away. You no longer have control of the situation. The only thing you can control is you and how you tolerate this pain. Sometimes things don't go the way we want to go. They don't go as planned. I had to learn that the hard way. Especially, I had all these plans, especially being induced. It makes you realize you don't control anything in life. Only thing you control is how you react to stuff. So, I was prepared that if I had to have a C-section, that's just what I'm going to have. So all the expectations you have on yourself, Don't be hard on yourself if it doesn't go the way that you want it. Just throw those expectations, throw that birth plan, throw it away. But write down what you don't want to happen. Write down what you want to happen, and just in case something like that happens. Just in case you have a C-section, write down what you would like to see happen. And if it doesn't happen, oh well. You know what matters at the end? That little baby gets out of you safely, and that you're still alive so you can take care of him or her. That's all that really matters. It does not matter if your birthing plan went to the T. It does not matter. Just remember that. It's important. It doesn't matter. You know what matters is that you're still alive, because having a baby is a serious event. It's not something that's just cute like the movies. You push, push the baby out. No, you could have a serious complication. And if you're at the hospital, you're the blessed. If you're at the hospital, you're at the best place to have a baby for what's going on with you. I'm not saying the best place is the hospital, because I wanted a natural birth at a birthing center, okay? But the best place to have a baby, if you have a complication like I had, like my child was too small, or wasn't too small, but wasn't growing enough, or if you had diabetes, whatever reason why they want to induce you, it must be some type of reason why you're at the best place, because they have blood on deck if you need it. They have medications, everything. They have surgeons, neonatal care, NICU. Boom, it's there. You don't have to go anywhere because you're already there. So remember that. Don't try to fight it. If they say something's wrong, something's wrong. Okay? Also, remember that no one cares how you had that baby except for you. That's it. They don't. When the baby comes, guess what happened? As soon as the baby came out of me, as soon as I pushed that little beautiful baby out of me, my family went right to where the baby was and just left me by myself. I was just thinking to myself, like, are you serious? Are you serious? Like, I'm sitting here pushing the Pitocin out by myself. Her dad's over there, my mom's over there, and they're just, taking pictures of the baby, looking at the baby and happy, while I'm sitting here by myself. I'm like, well, glad I'm not dead. But I'm sorry, but that's just how it goes. Once that baby gets here, you're old news. So only person that's going to care about how you had that baby was your doula, if you have one, and your midwife, or your doctor. Well, doctor probably won't care, but your midwife and your doula. And that's okay, because guess what? You had that baby. If you had a C-section, guess what? You still went through pain and you had that baby. It's not going to be a painless birth. Okay? Everybody goes through pain. If you had a C-section, you still felt the pain. What's the difference? You had a baby. The difference is the healing time. But at the end of the day, no one cares except for you. Sorry. My last tip would be to relax, to research, to not listen to the horror stories of what could go wrong and how Pitocin is the devil. Don't listen to it, because I did it and I honestly didn't think that I would be able to do it. I will give you a little heads up. If they have to break your water, after they break your water, that will be the roughest point of your childbirth. Because once you break your water, you're on a time limit. Your body puts you on a time limit. The doctors and nurses put you on a time limit, because you can get infections up there because there's no water to protect the baby. So just prepare yourself. That's the only tip I'm going to give you. Once those waters break and you're on Pitocin, they start upping the Pitocin. Once they up it, the contractions come harder, come stronger, and they don't have any time in between. And yeah, your body will be like, we gotta get this baby out of us, and that's a good thing. And also, this is temporary. You don't have a baby forever, okay? Alright guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment for more content like this and other things as well.